When my wife finally returned home from an 18-month deployment aboard the USS Truman, all I wanted was a quiet, respectful welcome. We live in a modest but peaceful suburb, tucked away from the noise of the city. But our peace has one major disruptor, the self-appointed queen of our HOA, Karen Hollingsworth. Karen has always been the type to patrol the sidewalks with a clipboard and scowl, making notes about non-compliant paint tones and the decibel level of children. The moment she found out my wife and I were not only renting but also military, her attitude shifted from nosy to hostile. During my wife's deployment, Karen took every opportunity to remind me that military uniforms don't grant immunity to HOA rules. She would complain about the American flag I flew. It's the way I trimmed the hedges. And even accused me of staging tactical drills when I parked my wife's military duffel bags in the driveway before sending them to her. But nothing could have prepared her or us for what happened the day my wife came home. That Friday afternoon, I was pacing around the driveway, eyes fixed on the end of the street. I'd cleaned every inch of the house, organized a small welcome home banner, and made sure the kids were dressed in their little "My Mom's a Hero" shirts. Then, finally, the red SUV pulled in, and she stepped out. Commander Rachel Dwyer, U.S. Navy, in full travel uniform. Her smile still melted me, even after 13 years of marriage. We were hugging, laughing, crying, the usual emotional cocktail of a military reunion when we heard it. The unmistakable sound of Karen's heels clicking against the pavement. She was striding toward us, lips already forming a frown. You can't park that SUV here. And these, she pointed at the 4 massive Navy duffel bags stacked near the curb, are obstructing the sidewalk. This is an HOA violation. Rachel turned slowly, eyes narrowing. I just returned from active duty, ma'am. These bags are being unloaded. We'll move the vehicle shortly. Karen didn't flinch. I don't care where you've been. Military or not, rules are rules. If you don't comply, I'll have to involve the proper authorities. Rachel tilted her head, like she was trying to comprehend if this was real. You're threatening to call the police because I'm unloading my gear? Yes, Karen snapped, pulling out her phone. I'll have them escort you off the property. You don't own this house, and we have ordinances about street use. My wife let out a dry chuckle. I do that. But just so you know, I outrank most people you're about to call. 15 minutes later, 2 police cruisers and a private security patrol from the HOA rolled into our cul-de-sac. Officers stepped out cautiously, followed by a couple of HOA enforcers in generic uniforms. Karen looked smug, arms folded like a queen who'd summoned her knights. This is her, Karen declared. Trespassing. Disrupting HOA ordinances. I want her off this street. The lead officer, a young man who looked barely 25, turned to Rachel. Ma'am, can I see some ID? Rachel reached into her duffel bag and handed him her military ID and Department of Defense authorization. The officer's eyebrows raised the moment he read her credentials. Commander Rachel Dwyer, USS Truman, ... Yes, she said calmly. Just returned this morning. I'm on leave. This is my home address while off duty. Another officer stepped forward. You served on the Truman? 18 months. Carrier Strike Group 8. The silence was palpable. Even the HOA enforcers looked unsure now. Karen wasn't having it. I don't care if she's the Queen of England. She's blocking a sidewalk and violating HOA rules. Rachel turned toward her with the kind of cool precision that only military leadership can summon. Let me make something very clear. You are not law enforcement. You have no jurisdiction beyond painting fences and arguing over mailbox colors. I serve under the authority of the U.S. Department of Defense. If you want to file a civil complaint, you can do so through the proper legal channels. But if you continue to harass me or my family, I will pursue charges of harassment and impersonating an officer of authority. That was the moment Karen's face changed. She wasn't expecting resistance, much less from someone who knew exactly where she stood legally and structurally in society. Asterisk, the younger officer cleared his throat. Ma'am, he said too. Karen, she's within her rights. There's no criminal activity here. I recommend you stand down. Karen stammered, but the HOA rules don't supersede federal orders or military leave status. We're done here. Asterisk, Karen stormed off, furious and humiliated, muttering something about taking it to the board. Meanwhile, one of the other officers lingered a moment, turning back to Rachel. Asterisk, my brother served on the Lincoln. Thanks for everything you do, Commander. Asterisk, she gave him a firm nod. Tell him welcome home from me. That night, we sat on the porch. The kids finally asleep inside and the stars blinking overhead. Rachel was still in a bit of a daze, not from jet lag, but from the absurdity of being nearly arrested on her own street by a civilian. HOA dictator. Asterisk, I knew coming back home would be emotional, she said, sipping her tea. Didn't expect. To face more hostility in my driveway than in international waters? Asterisk, I laughed. Karen's always had a thing for authority. She just never imagined someone could actually outrank her. Maybe I should show up to the next HOA meeting in uniform, Rachel joked. You'd terrify them. Asterisk, good. 2 weeks later, a letter arrived in the mail. It was from the HOA board, notifying us that Karen had been suspended as an acting officer pending community behavior review. Word had spread fast. Apparently, Rachel's confrontation and the way she handled herself had been the talk of the neighborhood. Asterisk. And as for Karen, she's quiet now, still walks the sidewalks, still pretends to inspect lawns, but no more threats. No more. Yelling, the clipboard's gone, and so is her imaginary badge of power. Asterisk, in the end. All it took was one woman, one real leader, standing her ground. Asterisk, and a reminder that sometimes the best way to defeat a power-hungry neighbor is to come home with actual authority. Asterisk.